It doesn't matter what level of golfer you are. If you want to shoot lower scores and become a better golfer, you have to master the basic chip shot. So the scary reality about a basic chip shot that's a relatively simple chip shot is that if you're not hitting it inside 1 foot or 2 foot or even holing a couple, then you need to improve this shot. Let's kick this video off by looking at the setup. Let's run from the ground up with the setup and let's keep it as simple as possible. With the stance width, how wide should we stance? I see a lot of people get this wrong. Very simply, let's go, the heels want to be roughly about a club head width apart. This puts us in a great position to where we can still maintain balance. Ball position becomes a lot simpler, and also from there, we're not going to be shifting all over the place. From there, with the feet, I like to see the trail foot relatively square, but I like to flare out the lead foot. This allows me to open my stance slightly, but it also makes it easier to keep my weight on my lead side the whole swing. The next topic is weight. Where should the weight be in your feet? I like to have about 80 to 90% of my weight on my lead side. And again, throughout the whole chipping motion, we're going to feel like we keep it there. We are trying to be consistent with where we hit the ground by keeping our weight in the same position, and we just pivoting around that left foot. Makes life so much easier. After we've done that, I actually want you to keep the ball position the same for pretty much majority of your basic chip shot. I actually want you to keep it relatively forward. So play it off the inside part of your left heel. Now straight away, a lot of people goes, oh, well, I want the ball back and I want the ball forwards. And what if I want to hit a low chip and run? Well, here's the thing, is as soon as you put the ball back, now you are having to add a lot of shaft lean. So if at any point in your downswing, you release that club out, then you are going to be widening out your arc, and that club is going to dig into the ground. So in terms of keeping this shot as simple as possible and making sure that you can repeat this as efficiently as possible, having the ball forwards off the inside part of the left heel still allows you to have a little bit of shaft lean, but it then means that actually it's going to be way easier to control that low point. In terms of shaft lean, a great template is to have the butt end of the grip just ahead of the golf ball, and then from there, now we can switch to the down the line view. So from the down the line view, one of the most important concepts we have to understand is that we need to raise the handle at address. Now, why do we need to raise the handle? Well, the leading edge here is the sharpest part of the club. However, the sharpest part of that leading edge is towards the heel, the hosel of the club. So if we have that heel down, that is going to catch and it is going to promote more of a diggy contact. Now, when the heel catches, it also closes the face, and again, that exposes more of that leading edge. So if you really struggle with fatting your chip shots or just taking too much of a divot as you do them, make sure that you can raise that handle so it gets that heel off the ground. So from there, you're going to feel like you're very much just toe down chipping, and that's what we call it, toe down chipping. This part of the club has a lot more bounce on it, a lot more forgiveness, and ultimately is going to make it way easier for you to repeat a good basic chip shot. Now, when you obviously raise the handle, you want to get closer to the ball into this position. From there, just grip down to where it feels comfortable. Again, you want to feel nice and relaxed when you're taking this shot. So you can see I've gripped down maybe ½ an inch right there. Heel feels off the ground. And from there, because I flared that lead foot, I am fractionally open with my feet. I see a lot of people go like this. And again, what does that do? It promotes you leaning that leading edge and ultimately from there digging it. So I don't want you too excessively open. Just by flaring that lead foot, you're going to have enough space to where the hands can arc back to the left. Get closer to it. If anything, you can never really get too close. I wouldn't even mind you being in this position. From there, it's going to make it so much easier to then produce that nice consistent chip. On a quick side note, if you're enjoying the video, please give it a like and subscribe, and be sure to click that bell notification. It would really help my channel out and I would appreciate all the support. So now you know the perfect setup for a basic chip. And I would say that raising that heel off the ground is a bit of a cheat code. You can use it whenever you just aren't comfortable with the lie. Let's now run into 3 keys for a good chipping motion. So the first one is wrist set. How much do you use those wrists? You have some players like Phil Mickelson who really promote that hinge and hold method, so a lot of wrist set. But then you've got guys who are just as good as him, who are using that wider sort of arc, like a Jason Day, Steve Stricker, 2 of the best short game players to ever play on the PGA Tour. So if they're using two complete opposite ends of the spectrum, which one's right? Well, to be honest, they're both right. You can never fully take the wrists out of the motion. They are always going to be in the motion. So what I would say is actually a really great way of thinking of it is, number one, let's just keep the wrists relaxed. Let's keep everything nice and loose. If we can do that, that means the club's going to be able to react when it hits the ground correctly and ultimately produce a nice rhythm to the swing. So when we do that, when we keep the wrist relaxed, the club will then naturally set the amount that it wants to set. It'll have a little bit of soft set, it'll have a little bit of release on the way through. So making sure you can just keep your forearms relaxed is going to massively help you. So one of the biggest keys to the backswing to make sure we can be consistent is that the club does not want to get excessively inside. When it gets excessively inside, we have to drive our hands towards the ball. Now, when we do that, the club gets more shaft lean, so now the head's off the ground. That then means that we're going to have to time some sort of knee dip, but also as well as that, it's exposing the leading edge because we've got more shaft lean. So again, this is a complete no-go. So when we're in this downline position, we want to make sure that that club can stay in front of us there. Now, the other thing is if I just let the club fall there, you see how it wants to fall back in front of me? If the club head is behind me and I let it drops behind me. So this one is actually going to allow us to, again, promote that really nice relaxed grip pressure. The club can just gather on the way through, and it's going to make it so much easier to have that good contact. Let's give you a great drill to help you with that. So the drill that I've got is an alignment stick drill. So I've got a basket just to hold it here in place. But what I want you to do is position this alignment stick so it's about 2 to 3 foot outside of your trail big toe. Now, as I set up here, I should be able to do a motion and keep that club head outside of that alignment stick. Obviously, if I take it inside, I'm going to hit the alignment stick. This is going to ensure I get the club working back in front of me in a good position. Let me give it a go for you right here. So the final tip is focusing more on the downswing and the follow through, and that is to keep your chest turning. I see so many golfers stop turning their chest and ultimately they end up looking like this. Everything's broken down, the hands have casted, they've got this sort of scoopy look to their action. Strike-wise becomes very inconsistent and the results become very poor. Instead, if you're able to keep that chest moving, you're going to maintain great arm structure and connection with the club. You're going to find that your low point becomes very consistent, and actually your rhythm and tempo is really consistent as well. So all of these things are going to help you produce far better results in terms of your chip shot. So some great drills are grab a towel and pop it underneath your armpits. Feel like you keep it in there the whole time and just feel that chest turn back and through. That's going to maintain the connection between your arms and your chest. Another great swing thought that you can take to the golf course is to feel like you get your sternum pointing at the target. So as you turn through, your chest is pointing directly where you want the ball to go. If you break down, you're going to see that chest is still pointing at or just past where the ball was at address. So just do a couple of swings where you feel like you get that sternum pointing at where you want the ball to go, and from there you're going to find your strike becomes way more consistent. Let me give it a go for you right here. So there you have it. That is how you play the basic chip shot, and this should be your bread and butter. If it can be, you are going to see some fantastic results, and I guarantee your game is going to get better. If you've enjoyed today's video, then please give it a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you back here soon.